Hi, I'm Colin with Laser Ammo, and I'm here with Barb with Laser Ammo. We're going to talk a little bit about today about concealed carry, home defense, things like that. I can tell you that as a police officer, over the past 15 years, I've seen a huge growth in concealed carry across the United States. And when it was implemented back in, for me, when it was implemented back in about 2006, it was very interesting because a lot of people are getting their carry concealed permit with little to no training. And that pretty much is kind of a theme I've noticed nationwide. There's a simple course that they go through, and that's pretty much it, as long as the local laws allow. So, a lot of people are expected to go home and practice. And I think using laser ammo products are a really great way to practice at home for self-defense, concealed carry, and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. Standard dry fire without any sort of laser device is still a good way to keep up on the basics, but there is a limit to what that can get you. You need that feedback of where is that shot? What are my times? How fast am I when I draw my gun from my holster and land that shot on target? So it's essential to implement some sort of tool in order to get that feedback. So a lot of calls that I get are, I just got a gun, what do I need? And what I tend to steer them to is our laser PET 2 target and a red laser. With this, they're going to be able to do all of the essentials that will prepare them, God forbid they're in a situation where they need to use that firearm to protect themselves. Yes, it is not using live ammo on a live range, but this is a great way to still train while saving money before you hit the live range for additional training.
I agree with you completely. Now, as a firearms instructor, specifically a handgun instructor, I really believe you should train with the gun you're going to carry. I know some people that will train with something that's not the same size or weight, but to me, it's important to practice coming out of the holster. I don't care if you carry your holster in your purse, on your side, behind your back, wherever you choose to carry it. Sorry, carry it secure, but also practice getting it out of whatever holster you keep it in. Because if you're always practicing from a low ready position or always pointing at a target, it's not practical, it's not realistic. Something else that is crazy to me is this past year we've seen ammo prices go crazy. As of today, when I checked online, the average price for one round of 9mm ammunition, 77 cents.
That's crazy. We've never seen prices like that before. And even I reload, and now the problems are coming over to the reloading side of things as well, because those of us who hand load cannot find the components to make that ammunition ourselves. So the problems that we're seeing are running the gamut as far as everyone involved in the industry.
Now, don't get me wrong, I do believe that using your carry concealed gun and practicing at a live range is important, okay?
Absolutely.
But time is an issue. Money is a huge issue, especially now. It's 77 cents a round. I don't think I can afford to go out and shoot 100 rounds once a month. I mean, that's a car payment once a month, and that's not for me. I like the ability to be able to shoot at home. It's very convenient, and the great part is those people that are in my life, my kids and so on and so forth, I can teach them to shoot safely as well. A Sure Strike action cap is warranted for 5,000 shots. Now, if you take that times 77 cents, that's $3,850. Can you imagine that?
It's going to pay for itself very, very quickly.
No doubt. It's amazing. Now, we go to different stores, gun stores, and so forth, and we see there actually is not that many guns out there nowadays because this is such a big deal. Practicing safely is very important, and when I utilize these things, such as the laser PET 2 or the IMTTS targets, I'm able to work on speed and accuracy, especially if I put them both together. What do you think about that for the home environment?
It's excellent. You really can switch up your training. For the laser PET 2, like I mentioned before, it's really great for sight picture, sight alignment, drawing from a holster. With your IMTTS targets, it's great for working on transitions, target identification. A way that my husband and I like to use these targets is we'll install the laser in our gun of choice, our carry gun of choice, and one of us will go into another room and we will put the targets in steel knockdown mode so they're all lit up, meaning once they are shot, they'll go dark. We'll spread those around the room. We'll kind of hide them a little bit. And then we'll start a timer and we'll have that person come in to clear the room, identify those targets, and we'll see how fast it's able to be done. And then we'll go back and forth and try and shave seconds off of those times. So it's a great way that we use them at home, and that training can be implemented on the range or in real life should scenarios call for it.
Absolutely.
So.
And you're talking about practicing with your husband. When I practice with my kids, I have 2 kids, and they're very competitive. You know, even though they're different ages, they're very competitive. And so the 2 of them love to even just set them up in a row and do like a steel plate challenge over and over again. And I think they like to fight over who's going to do the dishes. You know, one of those things where the winner doesn't have to do the dishes, and that's pretty cool. Settles a lot of arguments in my household, so it's a lot of fun. Now they also we you know. What is your opinion on utilizing a blowback gun versus your drop-in laser for your, as far as a concealed carry gun? Do you think that that's the way to go, or do you have a preference?
I always suggest training with the gun that you're going to carry daily on your person, because as you mentioned before, you're going to be familiar with the way it feels, how it sits in your holster, things of that nature. Now, which gun you have may dictate what you use on various targets. So with the laser cartridge, and I do want to touch on that real quick, our laser cartridges are caliber specific, not gun specific. So if you drop a 9mm laser into your gun and you have 5 different models, but they all happen to be 9mm, you can use that laser in each of those guns. So you're not required to buy 5 different lasers. Same thing for our caliber adapters. Do you have a 45 that you like, your 1911? You can put your 45 caliber adapter on that 9mm cartridge and use it in your 1911. So you're not required to buy a whole new cartridge. You can if you want, but you can adapt that 9mm to fit a variety of different calibers or shotguns or rifles, should you want to equip a long gun. But with that laser in that gun, if it's a double action handgun, you're not going to have to rack that slide in between each shot. You're going to squeeze the trigger, click, 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 and keep going. If it is a single action or like a striker or hammer fire gun, you are going to have to rack the slide in between each shot. With the Laser Pet 2, absolutely no big deal. I actually use my carry gun, either my PPS or my PPQ, on the Laser Pet 2 in that manner. Yes, I have to rack the slide in between each shot, but I use that opportunity to practice my mag changes, my malfunction drills, tap, rack, bang. We've all heard that. If you are one of those folks that do have to rack the slide in between each shot, that may not be as ideal on the IMTTS targets, where you are going to be taking multiple follow-up shots. But once again, that is not necessarily a bad thing, because now you have the opportunity to perhaps go with one of our recoil-enabled training guns where it is automated. So it'll act just like it would during live fire. With each squeeze of the trigger, you get that blowback, and then you're ready for your next shot. So now you can use that on a target system that you may want to take more rapid follow-up shots with. So there's definitely something for everyone.
So we've talked a little bit about carry concealed. Let's talk about a little bit about home defense. Some people, because their local laws, can't get a pistol permit for whatever reasons, and some people have chosen to go to shotguns or maybe carbine pistols or something like that. Laser Ammo has drop-in lasers for those type of things, right? And,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, so one of our top sellers as of late has been our 12 gauge shotgun adapter. We also offer them for 20 gauge, as well as a variety of rifle calibers, 308, 30-06, several different offerings, 301. What you do is, once again, we're working off that 9mm cartridge. So you're not required to buy a whole another laser setup. You just simply buy that adapter for that 9mm cartridge and install it as per the user guide in your manual. But now you're ready to train using that long gun, using that defensive home shotgun or rifle, whatever you may have in your training for home defense.
Great, great. Now I know that for me personally, I love using the reactive targets for training and so forth, especially for concealed carry. But there's a few situations where I really want to prep myself for things that could happen outdoors, like when I'm at the market and things like that. Things that surprise you, you never expect to happen. We always said in law enforcement, always ask yourself, what if? What if this happened? What would I do? What if that happened? What would I do? So with that, I kind of lean more then towards the smokeless range. I mean, we have a lot of different programs at the smokeless
Absolutely.
range, moving targets and so on and so forth. But when it comes to the outdoor situations, dark parking lots, going to the ATM, things like that, do you think that utilizing the smokeless range prep for that would help you or your students when you train?
No, absolutely, because with the use, and what you described was our Video Scenario Trainer Pro, that real life shoot or no shoot software.
Yeah.
That is all revolving around what could happen in real life. Walking up to an ATM, walking down the street in an alley, having a stranger come in and, do whatever he may do. It's all real life situations using real life actors. So, and with that, incorporating your training, you are going to be prepared as best as you can be for what may happen when you're not training, when it is real life. The outcomes of these scenarios, whether that person that is approaching you is going to be a threat or not, it's randomized. So once again, you can keep your training fresh. When you are incorporating that program, the VST Pro program, into your training, it is going to be randomized, like I mentioned before. So you're keeping that training fresh. You can also work with a partner and have them control whether it's going to be a shoot scenario or one where you will have to stand down. A great feature that I love with this program is it incorporates an after action report. So it will get a conversation going. So you can talk with your students about how they reacted to that scenario.
We did a lot of that in law enforcement. We always go back and we critique what an individual did, why they did it, when they did it, because that's all very important. God forbid something like this actually happen. What I'm taking from you is that it's really good to diversify your training. When I say diversify, I mean, practice for things at home, practice with somebody, what would they do, and then also practice like you're away from home, right?
No, absolutely. Because when you're in real life, nothing's ever going to be the same. It's not going to be cookie cutter. Your daily interactions with everyone are going to vary. So it's important to make your training reflect that as much as possible.
And everything's scalable, right? I mean, you can start off something as simple as a single 9mm cartridge you mentioned, and then move up to add targets later or add the simulator later. You don't actually have to get everything all at one time, right?
No, absolutely. Like you said, you can start off with a simple red laser, put it into your firearm, and train using any old paper target you may have at home. As long as it's a red laser, you will see that laser pulse emit on that paper target. And then when you're ready, if you want to add more, should the budget allow it, you can always add on more targets or go the route of the simulator. So it's all able to be built upon itself.
Great. And regardless of what you use, it is important to train. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Do you agree with me? I mean, my personal opinion is that you should train at least every month, and as much as you can, really.
No, absolutely. And this does not take the place of live fire training, so we want to make sure that that's known. We're not saying that this will replace it. It won't. But it's essential to train as much as possible so you're familiar with your firearm, because remember, you're relying on this to save your life one day, potentially. So it's important that you keep your skills fresh as much as possible. So absolutely, still go to the range, get your live fire practice in, but maintain that perishable skill by using laser-based dry fire training at home.
Absolutely, I agree. I think enhancing your training, when ammo was available and affordable, I used to go out and I used to shoot 1,000 rounds a month, and now you just can't do that, obviously. It's just not affordable.
Forget about it.
That's a house payment, But now I train about live ammo, maybe 100 rounds a month, and I'll do about 5,000 shots digitally, either on a simulator or reactive targets, or just dry fire training in my own home. But I'm enhancing, as I look at it, I'm enhancing the way I shoot. So I'm very comfortable now with my firearms, and every time I get a new firearm, you'll just see me just go through over and over and over again the handling of that firearm to build in that muscle memory. That's really what's important. Absolutely. As again, in law enforcement, that's one of the things we do. We practice drawing from our holster 1,000, 2,000 times before we ever take our first live shot. And I think that's a way to learn and train myself.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me a little bit about concealed carry training as well as self-defense training, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you as well.
You take care.